Good morning, everybody. It's Jillian. Okay, I just want to I want to clarify something for people in my group as well as just out there. Okay. So in the beginning, when I first wrote my book, I thought Candida was thought Candida was cancer. And it has a relationship with cancer, but Candida is not cancer. Candida is a fungus, the yeast that your body needs. Okay. It cleans up the extra sugar and the sugar substitutes, heavy metals. It's like the cleanser of the body. What happens is when people have a very imbalanced diet on a very weak body, they tend to gravitate towards sugar predominantly because everything in our society is either sugar, salt, minerals, nutrients, air, and water in just different forms. And so when you look at the food supply, okay, like all the food supply, it's either pasta, it's meat, it's vegetables, and it's fruit, sugar. It is all the different processed foods and plants that turn into sugar. I mean, when you break everything down, it's either sugar, salt, minerals, and some bacteria and air and water. That's it. It's basically all of the elements on the periodic tables. Now you have to have a balance in your body. Right now, with people who are dealing with major candida issues, it's because they've overfed their yeast. Okay? And so now we have people that in the holistic world who still kind of buy into the holistic demonization game, allopathic demonization game, still want to characterize sugar as the enemy. No, sugar is not the enemy. I don't care what kind of sugar it is, whatever form of sugar, it is not the enemy. What the enemy is the imbalances in your body that you've allowed to go way, way out of whack, out of your control. And so on the protocol, the way the diet is there's still fruit, okay? There's still vegetables. There's potatoes. There's chicken. There's eggs. Raw nuts, raw seeds, really good oils, whatever that is. No, definitely not the canola or the vegetable oil or the peanut oil, but like olive oil, coconut oil. Okay? And so the reason why we're not doing all of the crazy starches like the pastas and the breads and all that stuff is because you have an imbalance. You have a candida imbalance. You need to bring in the juice that has the electrolytes, the salt, the electrolytes, the minerals, the probiotics, which is what's majorly missing. And then, yes, you can live off the potatoes if you want to do just the potatoes and the juice, but people are not going to do that. You could live off of the fruits and the juice, but I don't want people doing massive amounts of fruit juice because if you're taking in all this sugar and you have already imbalance, then you have to keep drinking the juice, and then it's just like this whole thing. So you eat the fruit, you get a little bit of sugar, okay? And then you get your candida balanced. And then what happens is you also get nutrition, which is people who are sorely missing in their whole diet is the nutrition, the absorption. Okay? You know what cancer is? Cancer is not a fungus. Cancer is all the viruses, the conglomeration of viruses that completely reprogrammed your body because you didn't have enough strength to strengthen, you didn't have enough nutrients to strengthen your immune system and to strengthen the rest of your other 11 different systems to be able to take on the virus programming. Because viruses you can't get away from. They're every freaking where. Trillions, trillions, and trillions, and they're always mutating because we have people get sick all the time. Every single time a person gets sick that has pneumonia, you just mutated a virus and you made it stronger, okay? Because what that virus is doing, it's feeding off of your weak body, taking and taking the message of what it is and feeding off, zapping your energy, zapping your life force, which is why you're very weak, and then it gets transmuted to somebody else, and then somebody else catches it. Now somebody can catch it on a good body and enhance themselves. They will be asymptomatic and they'll be fine, and who knows, it may have enhanced their expansion of their consciousness or something, okay? But on a weaker body, somebody else that catches your pneumonia or whatever else, you've just now caused a more, not you, but the person received a virus that's really strong, and now their body is going to be even more upset of homeostasis. So it's not even your fault that you transmuted and transmitted these communicable viruses, because that's the state that your body is in. You can't help it right now, but you now have the ability to help it. It's the other person's responsibility to make sure their body is strong enough to withstand the environment that you're in. Okay, so I got a little trigger this morning in my group when somebody's dealing with a major healing symptom. They have pneumonia, and I get that. And I could tell by the tone they're not sure if it's healing symptoms or something else. Every single time you get sick, even in the matrix, it's your body trying to heal, trying to find alternative pathways to keep you alive until you basically pass away, because you're not giving your body what it needs. When you are constantly symptomatic throughout your whole life, cancer, disease, and chronic illness, it's the body trying to survive, and you're not letting it. And then you're seeing people in the population glitch like crazy, commit crimes, and do other stuff because they're working on a very malfunctioned, malnourished body that's not getting what it needs, and the body still wants to live, even if it's just behaving in such a crazy way, okay, until you reprogram your body the way it was meant to, which is protection, life, and well-balanced. And you've seen people who are well-balanced. They're not emoting emotions. They don't have this love and hate, okay? They're not fearful. They're not sick, okay? A well-balanced person is never sick. They don't lay in the world of love and hate predominantly. They're not bullying people. They're not demonizing anybody. They're not playing the divide and conquer game. And they're just living and let living. That's a well-balanced person in the world of what I see. Because I see too many people that lay in those worlds of love and hate and division and demonizing sugar and demonizing this and demonizing that. And that's more of what happens in the matrix that is causing all of this cancer, disease, and chronic illness. Okay? So until you get your body well balanced, you have to realize that this is what has caused your issues to begin with. So while you're trying to heal, keep in mind that every single time you get a healing symptom while doing the protocol, you would have already experienced this prior to the protocol, or that would be something you would deal with in the future, because it's already, the weaknesses is within you, okay? Because these viruses are already in your body, and we are living symbiotically with these viruses in our body. The reason why they start coming out and turning into cancer is because your body is breaking down. Because when you were like giving your best speech out there, let's say in Hawaii or some other place in the world, you have viruses in your body, but you're delivering an amazing speech. You create an amazing relationship with somebody. You've lived symbiotically with these viruses. You've had these viruses in you because it's in the population. Even if you don't test positive on a titer test, you still have the programming with you. When you start testing positive on titer tests for specific viruses, it is because they're now multiplying and agglutinating, and you're seeing your body break down, and then that's what causes these symptoms. Now, some of you are able to work with these symptoms, have the eczema, psoriasis, obesity, and whatever else, and you know they're made by viruses, and you're still able to deliver amazing speech and reach a bunch of people and have great sales, but you're still working with these viruses. But one day, as you get older and you're not taking care of your body and you're still demonizing sugar, trying to play the discrimination game and live in a bubble, you're going to then contract cancer, disease, and chronic illness, because eventually there's nothing that you can't avoid it. I mean, everything. More viruses are going to be out there. There's already the Ebola virus, which is not a bad thing, but it's a bad thing on a weak body. This universe is forever unfolding and is expanding. Now, humans can try to expand with it if they have the right means to. They have the understanding and the right elements in their body to go and assimilate and expand with the universe. But why people are dying in our society is because you cannot assimilate, you cannot adapt to the ever-expanding universe. I mean, look at our society. We're advancing. Okay, we didn't have the internet and Facebook and all this stuff 20, 30 years ago. 30 years, look how far we've come in 30 freaking years. Imagine just how far we've come, like, you know, even 100 years ago. So we're always advancing and expanding. And I want to look up and see what is it about Africa, which is the most infectious continent. Why are they the ones that have all these amazing programming, these amazing viruses that right now on a weak body is completely detrimental, but on a strong body, it takes us to the next level. Okay, because remember, we have done the research with those skeletons. The beginning, the first man happened to be in Africa. So the cradle of humanity happened in Africa. And then the viruses helped catapult from Australopithecus and Neanderthal to then Homo sapien. The viruses had something to do with it. And it seems that since Africa is the most infectious, they have the most amazing potential to expand human consciousness, but we're not ready to receive it because we're so malfunctioned, playing the divide and conquer, aging, playing the discrimination game. And so I'm wondering, is there something underneath Africa? Is there like a portal, or is there something that's allowing these viruses, this amazing messages from the universe to be created? What is it in the African soil? Is it the weather? Is there something about Africa that we're missing? Okay, that's allowing them to have all of these amazing messages from the universe. Okay, that's how I characterize these viruses, because we've lived with these. Look at Steve Jobs. Look how amazing he was for many, many years until he was taken down by pancreatic cancer. Those viruses he's had in his body for years. He lived symbiotically with these viruses, which could also be looked at as parasites. Okay, but he wasn't feeding his body correctly. And so those virus programmings took over as his body was breaking down, because these viruses, they program and they also consume. Okay, so you have to bring in elements to make sure that your body, all of your biochemistry is well balanced to be able to work symbiotically with these viruses. And modern medicine has helped us sort of deal with the anomalies that happen in our body when certain areas of our body breaks down. They go and manipulate with hormones and drugs, which is basically manipulating your hormones, and other types of things that will stop the programming of the viruses. Because that's what the allopathic and holistic world know how to do, is they basically know how to take a poison, like an antibiotic, whether it's dandelion root, turmeric, honey, or Cipro, and they see that there's a malfunction in a part of your body, and they go and apply this poison and stop the programming, so you're asymptomatic in this area until it shapeshifts and goes to another part of your body, and now instead of having lupus, now you have fibromyalgia, or now you have a cancer, or now you have something else. Okay, and you're playing whack-a-mole. That's basically what you're doing that your whole life, if you're turning to the allopathic and the holistic world to deal with all of your malfunctions, your weaknesses, because you couldn't handle the programming of the viruses, and you don't know how to bring in the right elements. You're playing the fear game. You want to discriminate, okay? And that's not how it works in our universe. Everything is connected. The only thing that divides us is the words. The words create worlds, okay? And so something that's called spirit is also hormones, messages, parasites, okay? Religion. Those are all kind of the same stuff. Jesus, God, hormones, the elements, all of them are the same thing. But some people want to have it more characterized. Well, this is God, and God is different from the spirit, and the spirit is different from a parasite, and the parasite is different from the virus. I've figured out how to connect all of them together. Because even watching these ghost shows, do you know who's predominantly being afflicted by all of these ghosts? Really sick people. Kindred spirits. People who go into the therapy world, who are therapists. Guess what? It's kindred spirits. They have a specific type of mentality and a specific type of biochemistry that they see in other people, and they want to help other people because they've experienced it themselves. This is why, you know, when people, I've been dealing with a lot of the spiritual stuff lately, because I've been getting a lot of spiritually connected people, and I'm trying to align the body, mind, and spirit, not put too much emphasis on the body, not put too much emphasis on the mind, and not put too much emphasis on the spirit, But it first starts out in the gut to then align your mind to then access to whatever spirit you believe in. But I have people that have been trying to get me into the spiritual healing world, or they're doing therapy with people, which is great, who try to deal with spiritual attacks. I understand that. Okay? But remember, not all of you remember everything I say, but I was raised by a psychotherapist. Okay? When you're raised by someone in psychiatry or psychotherapy or any of those therapy type of things, your parents are going to utilize and categorize you based upon their training. They can't help it. That's what they do. Okay? And so when someone who I know is a therapist in that world, or is really leaning towards those type of spiritual stuff, whatever it is, they can't help but try to get me into their world, categorize me as something of specific nature, whether it's telepathic or ESP. I'm not trying to exercise any of those things, okay? And I don't want to be telepathic. I don't want to be seeing the future. I don't want to do, and I think the body, mind, and spirit can work simultaneously with each other at the times that you need it. You don't necessarily have to exercise your body unless you want it to make it look great, or you just like to go outside and you like to do active stuff. But you don't have to exercise and work out. You don't have to go and exercise your mental or your mind all the time. If you happen to have a specific profession that does that, great. Okay? The spirit, that doesn't necessarily have to be exercise. You don't have to go and exercise so much on the spirit and try to do this ayahuasca and all these different drugs to mess with your hormones to get this amazing type of aha enlightenment. That's not what I'm trying to promote in J Juice, is everyone get enlightened. Okay? So what I'm trying to do is have people understand there is a balance of body, mind, and spirit. We've been separated by religion, by spirituality, by the divide and conquer, because we're reacting from people in the Democrats and the Republicans and the independents and all these different things who are also imbalanced, having issues. So it's not the political parties' issues, okay? It's the fact that we're dealing with people who are imbalanced that happen to congregate and assimilate to each other. And it's called kindred spirits. Democrats are kindred spirits. The Republicans are kindred spirits. They have all these imbalances. The independents are kindred spirits. The people who play with the medium world are kindred spirits. They recognize the weaknesses in each other. Okay? And then Jackery says, so the virus gets stronger because it mutated into something else as well it was before. Yeah, well, because it took all of your, so Jackery, so when the virus hits you and then you're reacting and you have all these symptoms, now you're communicable. So the virus took all of your data, so to speak. So everything that you have in your body, and took all that data, and you're dealing with the homeostasis interruption because of that virus hitting you, and your body doesn't have enough protection. Okay, the antibodies, you didn't have that data in there before, so your body's taking on data as it's taking data, and then it's then being transmuted out there to somebody else who will take it in. Like my husband was sick a couple months ago. Okay, he had a virus that his body didn't recognize. He was symptomatic, and he was sick for about 24 hours or 72 hours. Okay, I was asymptomatic. I did not. So what is catching something in our world? When you catch somebody's cold, you become symptomatic. I was asymptomatic. I took on that flu virus that he had, and it didn't upset my homeostasis. If anything, it probably catapulted me to the next level. I don't even know what revelations I had at that time when he was sick, but I should pay attention. Whenever he's sick around me, I'm going to see what exactly is going on in my world, not because of sickness, but to see what my thought process is, to see how it affects just my overall body, mind, and spirit. So understand, you guys, any group that you belong to, whether it's the 9/11 group or any other group out there, you are communing with kindred spirits. Y'all have imbalances. Okay? Y'all have imbalances of fear, of paranoia, of cancer, disease, and chronic illness, mental illness, all of that stuff. And I know I'm diagnosing all of you, but no, whenever you put yourself and segregate yourself into a group, whether it's a profession, which is fine, you got to make your money, I get it. Okay? But whenever you segregate yourself and you put yourself in a specific bubble or a group, you are communing with kindred spirits. You both are bouncing off each other the same stuff, reinforcing each other's illnesses, weaknesses, or strengths. Okay? So is Jilly Juice its own group? Yeah, it is, in some way. But it does fall in the laws of life. We don't want to fear. We don't want to divide. We want to understand biologically and elementally how everything works, so we're not playing the divide and conquer game. So we're not addressing people by their political party. We're not focusing so much on child trafficking. We know it happens, but do we need to really focus so much on it? Let's see if we can raise children and be examples so we don't have future children to become these predators in our society. That's right, Tiffany, thanks. Okay? And so this is why but I know you guys are going to do what you're going to do. I get it. I see it, but I get it, because it's very hard to get away from the programming of the Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Hey, Donna, thank you. I know it's hard to get off that programming of Q versus somebody else. I know it's very hard to get off the program of 9/11 versus the non-9/11s. Okay? I understand how hard it is to get away from all that programming, because it's giving you a purpose for many freaking years. Maybe we need to change our purpose in life, so we're not trying to say we're trying to save humanity, and then you're further perpetrating this, sustaining and focusing on the things that you can't control. That's what it comes down to. And so, and you can control yourself. Where are you getting to the next level? Hey, Massimo. So those of you that are so focused on 9/11 and Trump and Q and child trafficking, what are you doing for yourself? Now you say, oh yeah, I'm doing the JJs. I did a gallon yesterday. But do I see any evidence of that? Do you see any evidence of your life changing in your world to where you are not repeating the same mistakes, having the same arguments, having the same outcome in your life? Okay, this is how you know where the J juice actually works and is taking you away from the divide and conquer, where you're looking at balancing both your body, mind, and spirit without blowing smoke up your own ass as well as mine. Okay? So I know, I'm very aware that we cast spells on each other. We want to put each other in specific categories. That's the natural human condition when you're imbalanced, is you have to feel like you have to be in a category. And if you're not in a category, then you're not something. And that's maybe the mentality we need to get away from. These groups that are out there, the reason why I have this group is because people need to have a place where they can feel that they're safe to share whatever is going on, and you'll hear from me if I feel that you're on the wrong track. Okay, I'd rather scare people away from the J juice than bring in someone who's going to mischaracterize it. So my group remains very small. Okay, I don't want a large group. If anything, I'd rather have maybe 10 people who I know are doing the juice and are exemplifying it and making major headway and be in that amazing example than 300 people who are just looky-loos. But I have 330 people that probably maybe like less than 1% is really participating or putting their message out there. But I understand you don't want to get attacked either. But I don't get a lot of testimonies coming to me anonymously or through email or private messenger for me to share. It's always like the same people, which is great. Okay? But that's how you know that this juice is working. And that's why the group exists, is so that way we have some kind of recorded progress on the changes that we're making in our society so we can get away from the same old shit. Okay? So yeah, so lately I won't say I've been spiritually attacked. No one's attacking me. But people do like to impose their ideology, especially in the spiritual world. They already know they can't get to me in the physical world. I mean, as far as the body, the different protocols, because I've already completely shot that out of the water. What people are noticing is my weakness with the spirituality, and that's why I'm getting so many spiritual people coming towards me, because they're trying to bring me into their fold, and I'm resisting. I am saying, no, I'm not going to be categorized as a telepathic. No, I'm not going to be doing all of these spiritual healings and energy healings. No, I'm not going to do that. Now, I know some of you think that, oh yeah, why are you like, I mean, not why, but you need to keep an open mind. Oh yes, my mind is very open. I just don't need to exercise that spiritual side of me, because it's all, I get that through my dreams. When I know I'm going through something, I have dreams. It reconfirms or has me think about, oh, what's going on that I have a dream. I don't always tell you guys, because that's my own personal journey. Spirituality is a personal journey. It's not something you just basically throw up out there. I mean, some people do, that's fine. I'm not knocking it. But my spirituality, whatever it is something that is close to me. Some things I will share where I feel like it's appropriate. Other things I don't. Doesn't mean that I don't have any spirituality going on. I just don't always put it out there, wear it on my sleeve. Because I'm not trying to convert anybody to my line of thinking as far as spirituality. I just want everybody to do the juice, get it, and then they will pick what would be appropriate for them spiritual-wise. And if you happen to be more telepathic and that's what you exercise, great. If you utilize it on your patients, that's great. But that's not necessarily where I want to be, okay? And so, yeah, you know, I mean, being raised by a psychotherapist, being analyzed all the time, I pick up on that. And then I'm like, oh my God, no, don't put me in a category. Don't pigeonhole me. I'm not trying to, you know, legitimize anybody else's profession out there. Your profession is great. If you help people, that's great. When you are a therapist anyway, yes, you've been down that road of spiritual attacks. And now you want to help somebody deal with spiritual attacks. I get it. When you're a psychotherapist in domestic violence, you've been domestically violent. Well, or you've been a victim of domestic violence. So you're going to go into that field. When you've been, you know, people who are victims of specific things, usually, not all the time, but they go into the fields of study because they've been there. They know what it feels like to be either the perpetrator or the victim. Okay? So I'm not necessarily trying to align myself with people. And that's what I said about the whole thing with clairvoyance. I'm still exploring this. It's not really completely cemented. But when I've done more research on clairvoyance and ESP and this whole mental telepathy and telepathic stuff, it comes from a very empathic, emotional person who is so emotionally involved with the people around them. But that's crossing boundaries. Okay? See, when you're an empath to such an extent with the love, you're going to cross boundaries. Therapists cross boundaries all the time because that's what their job is. They go and try to create problems to then think and then create the solutions, and then hopefully there's a change, a behavioral change because of the problems that were created. Okay? So that's not where I'm going. I don't want to be so, I mean, I'm only emotionally connected to a very few people. I probably can count on my hands who I'm that emotionally connected to where I would then exhibit telepathic type of, which I haven't. So it tells me that that's not really the direction that the body, mind, and spirit aligning balance correctly is going. Okay? Empaths have a lot of severe emotional stuff going on. And you guys know it. You've seen the empaths that feel everything. And they bleed everywhere. Okay? At some point, you got to contain that. That's what I keep saying to you guys. You know, the love, and the hate. There's a middle ground of acknowledgement. But some of you are in the therapy world. I understand that. I'm not trying to knock your profession, and you are probably helping people. Most likely, yes. No different than when you're in the holistic allopathic world and somebody has a major emergency and you have a cure that is approved by the FDA to then guarantee that this person will be then asymptomatic for a certain amount of time. Okay, so I'm not knocking any professions out there, just don't impose it upon me, especially in the spiritual side. So I have to be stronger in getting my point across that I'm not open for somebody to come in and try to influence me as far as spirituality. I'm not open to that. I will decide spiritually what it is, and I do it on a daily basis. I notice everything that goes on in my world, what I feel, what I think, what I eat, what goes on with my own family, what goes on with you guys. Okay. So that's what I want to offer to anybody else that does a protocol, is that I know you're in specific fields of interest as well as study, But to kind of let those biases go for a minute, do the J juice, it may help enhance your abilities in whatever you're doing, or you may see that there's a bigger picture going on that you may not be aware of. Okay? And so let people choose. Don't try to influence and pigeonhole and tell someone, oh, I think you're this. Okay? Because this is what, because yeah. I don't appreciate that. All right. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that. But remember, sugar is not the enemy, and we all have a personal journey when it comes to spirituality, nothing of which that you impose on somebody else. When you do the juice and you bring in the nutrients and you release any excess virus programming that doesn't work with your body, and you go through the healing symptoms, your mind is going to become clearer. Okay, so your body's becoming clear, your mind's coming clear, and then you'll tap into the spiritual side of the universe. But until then, just chill out. Thank you, Donna. Okay, because when people out there, they're doing all of the antibiotics and the turmerics, and they're all spiritual, but they're really only focusing on all the detoxes and all the antibiotics. Don't you think the message is getting muddied up? I think the message is kind of like may not be really pure or being filtered through a very imbalanced body. So when you see these spiritual healers that are out there that are aging, it's being filtered through an aging, degrading body. Is that something you want to follow? There's spiritual healers that are in my world that are not doing the J juice, but they are focusing on the spiritual side so much, and they're propagating spiritual stuff and teaching breathing exercise and all these different things. But it's being filtered through a body that is working with elements that are working against them. And then people are aging too. So anyways, all right, that's all I got. But you guys have a good day. And I had no coffee this morning, but I really needed to get this out there. Okay? Because it's just like, oh my God. This is the second person in the spiritual world that has contacted me. And so I know that this is something I have to focus on. I have to address it. And that way you all can then make your choice on what it is you want to focus on. And realize that you just need to just allow your body and then your mind and then your spirit will follow suit. Okay? All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.